Welcome to this explainer. Have you ever looked at an animal out in the wild and thought, wow, you're not just surviving, you are a literal masterpiece of biological engineering? Today, we're decoding nature's ultimate blueprint. We're looking at how animals aren't just living in their environments, they are perfectly, incredibly engineered for them. From the freezing poles to the boiling deserts, nature's design is truly flawless. And by the end of our time together, you are going to see the animal kingdom in a completely new light. Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to cover what exactly a habitat is, masters of the land, wonders of the water, the semi-aquatic rule breakers, and finally, animal behavior and us. Let's dive right in. Section 1. What is a habitat? The ultimate blueprint of life. To really crack the code of nature's design, we've got to fundamentally rethink what the word home actually means out in the wild. We toss the word home around pretty casually, but in nature, a home is quite literally a matter of life and death. Because a habitat is way more than just a physical address, right? It's the natural arena where an animal lives, grows, and totally thrives. Think of it as a custom-built survival zone, providing the exact, perfect conditions a specific species needs to exist. And at the core of this whole biological blueprint, nature basically divides these survival arenas into two massive foundational domains: terrestrial, meaning living or growing on land, and aquatic, meaning in the water. Every single feat of biological engineering we're exploring today stems from the unique physics of these two very different worlds. Moving on to Section 2, Masters of the Land. Extreme environments mean extreme engineering. Let's see how these terrestrial foundations evolve into some highly specific engineering solutions for survival. So out in the relatively flat plains, the biological solution is actually beautifully straightforward: four-legged locomotion. Whether we're talking about horses, cows, buffaloes, dogs, cats, or donkeys, relying on four legs is quite literally the most mechanically efficient way to walk, run, graze, and escape across solid ground. It is the foundational piece of terrestrial engineering. But what happens when that environment turns into a deadly, burning furnace? A place where water is incredibly scarce and the ground literally shifts right beneath your feet. The standard four legs of a cow or a horse, they wouldn't last long at all. Surviving a boiling desert requires a complete top-to-bottom redesign. And the camel is an absolute masterclass in this. They use these wide, padded feet to perfectly disperse their weight over that shifting sand, while specialized internal systems store water and food for those long, brutal droughts. Meanwhile, desert reptiles, like snakes and lizards, they take a totally different route. They exploit the cooler microclimates of underground burrows just to escape that lethal surface heat. It's like a giant puzzle, and it's fascinating to see the perfect adaptation matchup at play. Every physical feature connects directly to an environmental problem. Just like padded feet conquer sand, the thick, dense fur or feathers of polar animals act as critical thermal insulation against the freezing cold. Or take zebra stripes and tiger coats. They're designed to merge right into the forest shadows. Every single feature has a distinct, life-saving purpose. Speaking of the forest, the primary arms race there is visibility. And the ultimate solution? Camouflage. When an animal merges with its background, those patterns aren't just there to look cool. They're highly functional optical illusions engineered to break up the animal's silhouette, allowing them to blend seamlessly into the background and remain completely hidden in plain sight. All right, Section 3, Wonders of the Water, designed for the deep. Having conquered the wild, extreme climates of the land, we transition to a realm that basically throws out all the rules of physics: the water. Now, aquatic dwellers need totally different toolkits depending on their exact environment. You've got the immense saltwater habitats of the oceans and seas, home to massive whales, apex sharks, turtles, starfish, and jellyfish. And then contrast that with the more confined freshwater habitats of rivers and lakes, hosting everything from catla and trout to the infamous piranha. Living fully submerged requires a pretty radical overhaul of that terrestrial blueprint we talked about. Legs are traded in for specialized fins or flippers to maximize your aquatic propulsion. And lungs? Those are swapped out for gills. Gills are basically these highly efficient biological filters designed to extract dissolved oxygen directly from the water itself. It's pure genius. Section 4. The semi-aquatic rule breakers, bridging both worlds. Because nature absolutely loves a twist, and this explainer just wouldn't be complete without looking at the rebels. The creatures who flat out refuse to choose just one habitat.
These rule breakers navigate a really complex double life. Take frogs and toads. They thrive on land, but they're biologically tethered to the water for their eggs and can actually breathe in both environments. Then you have turtles, perfectly built to live in the water with their flippers, but they still have to migrate and drag themselves on the land to lay eggs. And crocodiles? They're basically terrestrial crawlers that have mastered stealth swimming to completely dominate the water's edge. To understand how they pull off this double life, just look at the science behind webbed feet. It's all about maximizing surface area. Just like padded feet spread weight on the sand, webbed feet act exactly like the oars of a boat in the water. They maximize the surface area pushing against the water, giving the animal powerful, super efficient swimming propulsion while still letting them hop or walk around on land. It really is the best of both worlds. Which brings us to Section 5, Animal Behavior and Us, Psychology in the Wild. Let's shift gears from physical anatomy to psychology and look at how these perfectly designed animals actually interact with the world around them, including humans. Because evolution shapes behavior just as much as anatomy, we see very distinct social traits out there. Interactive and playful species, like dogs, cats, and dolphins, are highly social, they love their masters, and they even learn tricks. But in stark contrast, wild animals like deer, orangutans, tigers, or snakes possess a deeply ingrained survival-driven shyness. Their primary inherent instinct is to just avoid humans entirely. If you read that an orangutan runs away when a tourist approaches, that isn't just random panic. It is a profound psychological adaptation. They flee because avoiding us is the exact instinct that has kept their species alive for millennia. Every single creature we've looked at today is a masterpiece of natural engineering, exquisitely tailored to its home. But that leaves us with a really critical question to ponder. Knowing how perfectly designed yet fragile these ecosystems are, and knowing that many of these animals are literally biologically programmed to avoid us, will we choose to respect their boundaries, to avoid danger and preserve this delicate design? Nature's blueprint is flawless, for sure, but its survival now depends largely on us.